Lovely to go off script for a minute. All right. Well, good morning, y'all. All right, well, last Sunday, Father Brad began his sermon by explaining Laetare Sunday and how it's the halfway mark of Lent. While this Sunday is not designated as anything in particular other than the fifth Sunday in Lent, we're still given some clues about where we are in the liturgical calendar. After Laetare Sunday, we are in the final stretch of Lent. And of course, Lent is capped with Holy Week and Easter. That is the immediate goal that we have in sight right now. And the clues we have for this are in the readings for today. The Psalm 126, is one of the Odes of Ascent. It's a hymn that would have been sung on the last stretch of the journey towards Jerusalem for the great pilgrimage feast like Passover, which is a fitting choice for us since next Sunday is Passion Sunday, when we'll read the Passion account of Jesus, our own Paschal Lamb. The reading from Isaiah speaks of new things being done, of ways being made, of water being provided in the desert. It's a nice reminder of how sometimes in that last stretch of a journey, we might need a little extra encouragement to run that last mile. And also points towards Easter in that reference of a new thing that God is doing. Can you perceive it? Isaiah says. And in the reading from Philippians, St. Paul speaks of continuing on by God's grace towards a prize not yet achieved. Depending on how you chose to participate in this season, the last few weeks of fasting might feel like a race only completed by God's grace. It's usually the people who give up coffee for Lent that I see struggling the most. The gospel reading, then, is a foreshadowing of what we'll read next Sunday. Again, the story of Christ, his death and his burial. Jesus says that the perfume that Mary, Lazarus' sister, used to anoint him was for his burial. But there's more going on here than just liturgical roadmaps. Of course there is. The readings also provide hints and points of reflection for where we might have been on our Lenten pilgrimage and where we could be headed. It gives us hints at what Holy Mother Church has invited us into during the Lenten season and what we are invited into in the celebrations of Holy Week, culminating with Easter. Now, one of the words that I get the fortune of hearing often at seminary is Animenesis. If you're not familiar with the word, it means a remembering of something or a calling to mind. It's most frequently used in reference to the Eucharistic prayer. It refers to how in our recalling of Christ's passion and resurrection every Sunday, the Holy Spirit draws us into the divine story. By God's working and grace, we are pulled into the mystery of Christ's redemptive work. But that's not the exclusive use of the word, though. So many parts of our corporate life in the church involve anamnesis. Anamnesis is something found in the readings themselves, in the reading of salvation history and scripture, in the reading of our sacred text. We are also drawn into the very same things that we read about. In the liturgical calendar, as strange as that may seem, even there we experience anamnesis. In some cases, like with Advent and the Christmas and Easter seasons, it might be easier to see, but it's just as true with Lent. Anamnesis is everywhere. It's everywhere because it's an important thing. In our remembering and our calling to mind of certain events and certain times, God pulls us into the mystery of our redemption. God pulls us into the mystery of the divine life. That, after all, is the ultimate goal. That is the target that we are all racing towards. Union with God. Union with a God who knows us and loves us and wills us into relationship, wills us into the sharing of God's very own life. And that's what these readings, more so than serving as mile markers, are doing. They're drawing us into the behind the scenes. At this point, the church has been observing Lent for a month. Lent isn't about sacrifice for the sake of sacrifice. The prophets all throughout the Old Testament let us know how well that works for anyone. The sacrifices that we make during Lent or that we take on during Lent are refocusing. It's a sort of training, like weight training, someone once told me. And the reading from Isaiah says, I'm about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? After this time in which we are invited into a better balancing of things that might distract us or cloud our vision, after our refocusing on the end goal and our prize, after our period of training and preparation, can we perceive with better vision and renewed senses that new thing that God is doing? That new thing that God is doing in us and in and through Christ. that new thing that we are so close to reliving in our retelling of it? Can we see with new eyes what Easter holds? What glories lie hidden behind the stories that we will tell next week in Christ's Passion? Can we see all the more clearly the victory of Christ's resurrection, the trampling down of death and sin, the sanctification of the material and tangible, that we might be able to share in the life of the Almighty, so that we can be brought further into the story? The reading from Isaiah also says, "Do not remember the former things, nor consider the things of old." After taking time to self-evaluate, to be strengthened in our resolve as we remove certain things from our focus, or as we have grown into the practices that we've taken on in order to better conform our lives to God's, after all of this opportunity offered to God in order for us to be drawn even farther into the mystery, are the things that we left behind worth turning around for in light of the new vision of these new things that God has placed before us? And then it gets even bigger. Because Lent isn't just a season of the year. It's not just on our calendars for the church. Lent is a snapshot of life in general. We're always headed somewhere. We always are having to make painful decisions. We're always working towards some goal. We're always aware of some aspect of our lives that could be improved. We're always on a pilgrimage through this life, headed towards the risen Christ, who simultaneously waits for us at the finish line with open arms, while also helping us on the way, providing water in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. None of us have traveled this pilgrimage perfectly. None of us have started it at the same time. Sometimes it feels like we are running without a care in the world. Other times like we've been stopped in our tracks. And that's okay. That's just the nature of the beast. And that is also my plug to start a Lenten discipline now. If you haven't already, it's never too late. But St. Paul says it best in his letter to the Philippians. Not that I have already obtained this or have already reached the goal, but I press on to make it my own, because Christ Jesus has made me his own. Beloved, I do not consider that I have made it my own, but this one thing I do. Forgetting what lies behind and straining forward to what lies ahead, I press on toward the goal for the prize of the heavenly call of God in Christ Jesus. As we finish this journey through Lent, as we prepare ourselves to journey through Holy Week and then through the Easter season, may we never lose sight of the goal of our larger pilgrimage of faith. May God grant us always eyes and a heart to perceive the bigger things and the ways in which God draws us deeper into the mystery and into relationship, into the very life of the Trinity, into union with the one who is greater than our imagining. May our hearts truly be fixed there on our greatest joy and truest prize.